This is the fourth day of the shading exercises. In this exercise we will draw the cone and a sphere together, adding a bit more complexity to the drawing of the sphere we did in day 3. You may find it difficult as to where to begin with this drawing. Just remember, you are using only one brush, the shade, to do this entire drawing. This means, you will create the tones, blending and all the other tones to give this drawing a realistic look. First examine the diagram on the top which has been provided as a reference for this drawing. Look at the various areas that depict the different dark and light tones. You will see that the darkest tones appear on the shadow of the sphere at the base, and also the shadow cast by the cone on the sphere. Notice that light tones appear on top of the sphere and on the right side of the cone. The light source is coming from the right. Note also the reflected tones of the sphere near its base. The template provided below already has the mid-tones that you will need for this shading exercise. I suggest that you watch the video once to see the method I use to make this drawing. It won't seem obvious to you at first, so I will explain the approach that I take in this drawing. Remember, you may have a different approach to this shading, which is perfectly fine as long as we get something close to the original image. From the video, you will see that I adjust the brush size continuously while zooming and rotating as I am drawing. The zooming is to get close to the details and rotating the image allows a comfortable position for the drawing strokes. I am using the shade brush in the same way that I would use a pencil. Proficient artists understand their drawing tools to a higher level than beginners. They know the kind of marks that they can expect by going over a drawing area and applying it to their drawings. The same is true of this shade brush with the Paintology app. If you practice with the shade brush, you will see that it displays different properties when you resize the brush and select the different color tones on the grayscale. Many digital artists can bypass this core skill in art, by making use of the digital tools that come with the app, such as blending tools and layers. If you continue to master this core skill in art, you can make routine photorealistic drawings with Paintology much faster and with relative ease. Note that I slowly build up the whole drawing by observing areas that need addressing and going over it again. In this way, I am able to get a drawing close to the original. You can watch any good artist at work and you will see that their initial art is pretty basic to begin with. As they continue to work, they are developing the layers of details that give life to the drawing or painting. This is a fundamental key to making great artwork, the ability to continuously enhance your drawings from start to finish. However, this requires you to gain a good understanding of how the tools such as the shade brush operates. Try not to look at the drawing as a whole and work on small bits at a time. First build up the base, then start adding the darker and lighter tones around your drawing. Take your time and don't rush. Drawing is a lot about thinking of the next step as much as doing. Work your way around slowly building up the tones in each of the areas. You will see that you can refine the drawing as you continue to draw. You will be able to compare with the original image and see what needs to be done on your drawing. As you build up the tones, you will see less and less areas that need to be retouched. The great advantage of digital drawing is that you can go over it again and again, but there is a limitation on how much you can rub out on a real pencil drawing. Eventually you will be altering the tooth of the drawing paper with your rubber. These limitations do not exist in the digital medium, so your skills can go much further. Finish the drawing by cleaning up the edges. I do this by selecting a white tone and zooming into the areas and going over it as shown. The brush sizes of the shade brush has a bearing on the drawing that I'm already making. For example, I switch to a larger shade brush of about 30% to shade a larger area of the drawing. I use this to get a smoother blending of the gradient tones. I start off with the darker areas, the shadow of the sphere and the cone. This gives me a good base for starting the drawing and then building up the whole drawing. It is easy to give up early, and that would be a shame. You should know that you will need to practice to get an understanding of how the brush operates by itself and when applying another shade over another tone. Also, the effect of the brush size on the overall tones. You should always think about improving in incremental steps and not try to get to the final drawing in one go. If you are having difficulty, try and come back to it and you will find that this can help. Go back to the previous day exercises and go over it again. I would suggest that you use a cheap stylus for this drawing if you are using a phone. This will give you better placement of the shading and get to the smaller details with more accuracy. With these shading exercises under your belt, we should be able to tackle the drawing of a portrait. On day 5, we will draw eyes, which have various tones and help you further in your drawing skills. Keep up the good work, and hope to see you again soon. Paintology, draw like the real thing.